know, when you're starting out, this is when you want to start feeling around on your unit. Where's it hot at? When's it cold? What do we got going on here? This is when you can start learning about what's going on with it. So like right here, the headmaster control is kicking in because we're running, it's 180 pound control. And see, we're running 163 pounds. Well, what's gonna happen if we're at 160 and this is set for 180? It's gonna let the hot gas come out and come across here, and guess what? I have hot gas. I can feel it plain as day. Coming out of the condenser, cold. You can tell that the headmaster control actually works, so we know that's a good thing.
This video is brought to you in part by TruTech Tools. Quality tools, essential support.
Hey, hello guys, so we're on a new one here. Walk-in cooler, haven't done these for a while. Seems some people like these a little bit better than grocery stores, so we're here to take a look at it. It's at school, and this unit is running warm. As you can see, we're running right in there at about 45 degrees. Front thermometer says something along the lines of 50. Coming back here to the back, we're looking at the evaporator, and we can see that it's kind of dirty, but that's not most likely what's causing our problem. Feel our liquid line, it's not even warm. Suction line surprisingly is well insulated. Ooh, that feels funny. And then we got, look at that, right there is one of those crimp things because people don't know how to braze. So, yep, green crap all over. I don't know if that is sprayed because it is leaking or if because they were leak searching. I'm not sure. Either way, that tells me that obviously no, they've had issues with leaks. I'm thinking somebody just sprayed that. All right, let's go outside and see what's going on out there. So we've got us a nice mechanical room here. Some big old lock-and bar boilers. And back here is actually where the cooler and freezer's at, which I was kind of surprised when I seen that it was R22 on the one and 404 on the other, but the R22 is the one that kind of got me. Everything feels cool. The compressor was warm, so it might be in a defrost, I'm not sure. According to down here, blocks plural are above the freezer cooler, which sucks because that means you got to dig up above there to get them. We don't know if it's going into a defrost right now or not. One of the things I see here already I don't like is those cheap pressure switches there for controls. Hopefully they're not controlling it directly and through the compressor windings. Hopefully there's a contactor in there. And we pop the cover off and there is a contactor in there. We can check and see what our suction pressure is. Okay, we were not in a vacuum and we're right in there about 13 pounds area. So it's probably either pumped down or it's in a defrost. Either way, it's pumped down, shut off. However, that sight glass sure looks awfully empty. And if you're going to stop it, you'd be stopping it there on the actual liquid line. That really looks empty down in there. One thing I noticed here, if I tap on my filter dryer, you can see that that is wiggling, which tells me that if we were pumping down, it would have been pumped down over there on that liquid line and it would back the liquid up to here. We probably low on charge. We're gonna check our discharge, see how we are on that. This just looks like some make-believe piece of garbage they put together. We went ahead and hooked up the gauges, and same thing I had on the analog. Yeah, it's 4 pounds there. But what's really odd is I have 128 pounds here on this, but no liquid. So that tells me we're probably low. We don't have enough liquid in there to even fill that sight glass up. I'm gonna go up there and get above the cooler and see if we can find that clock. I'm assuming that that's stopping the flow, and then we can see where we're at. We may end up having to convert this thing to 407C or something. I've got 22, but depending on what they want to do, we may have to go from there. But chances are this doggone thing has got mineral oil in it. They might have some green crap in there, so maybe they got some dye in there for people that don't have a good detector. It's hard to say. Mineral oil, yep, figured so. All right, well, let's go over there to the other side. Well, it's a refrigerant gas, not a gas that's going to blow up and kill you and everything else. No. Oh, looky there. Freaking quick crimp. You know what they did is somebody didn't crimp it properly. I mean, you've got all those other freaking solder joints. Why didn't you just do it right to begin with? Lazy ass people kill me. And then yeah, there's your leak. That was really hard, wasn't it? This is those cheap snap together, RDI, whatever, garbage. Schools get screwed. See how they ran that right through there? Yeah. You had to braze all that in. Why didn't you just braze this one? Unbelievable. Yeah. Well, let's go pump it down and then we can make this repair. Okay, I have no clue how much refrigerant has been lost. It could have been most of it. It's got to have a solenoid. I don't know. It's just kind of crazy. Let's pump this thing down a little bit. Something tells me that that thing's in a defrost. It really, really does. Well, at least I got some ladders handy here. I don't even have to get mine off the truck. And she gave me a key fob so I can go back and forth kind of easy now, so that'll make it a little nicer. Okay, well, over there's the defrost clock. Let's go over there and see if it's in. Yeah, this really kills me. Why would you put it over here? Why wouldn't you just put this back over? I mean, literally, this thing's on the other side of that wall right there. What's the purpose of that? You that lazy? So, it wasn't a defrost. Looks like it has a 1 hour defrost. There it goes, it just released. All right, and some of your wiring. That's just floppy dink, ain't it? So we've started labeling it. That's what it's gonna be when we get done taking that off. Marked out my spot on my compressor so it no longer says mineral oil. Got it most of the way out. Only running 66 degrees. It's on 404 still. Yeah, it's quite low. So what we're gonna do, go ahead and pump her back down again. What it's doing is the cheap pressure switch, it's just not adjustable. It's shutting off rather higher. So we'll go ahead and see where it shuts off at here now. Yeah, it's got now a 12, which is theoretically fine. But then it goes right back up. So we'll go ahead and push her in. We're gonna have to pull vacuum on this thing anyway, so let's completely suck it out of it. There we go. We'll see whether or not our valve plates hold now. All that liquid is crammed into that receiver. Now we should be able to cover right out of that. Nice thing is, it is holding on our suction side here, so we are good on our valves. They do appear to be holding on that. What's kind of crazy is they got another one of those fittings right there. I don't know what they were doing, but they didn't make it very easy, and I kind of worry. Can't tell for certain. Doesn't look like there's a leak on it. Can't tell. I really can't tell if that's oil or what. I know what the problem is. They didn't do it the way they were supposed to. They probably didn't properly clean it. I guess we'll go ahead and fix the 3/8 one and then pressurize it, and if it leaks, then obviously I'll chop it out. I really don't want to if I don't need to. Okay, so we've got this loosened up. What we're gonna do is we're going to pull this cap right here, and then we're gonna use the hose just like we did on that one video where I converted the other one, and then we'll slightly pressurize the compressor with a rag around it, and they'll blow that oil right out of there, right into our jug. And then we will pump in some POE 32 Ultra here. It's easy sleazy, baby. But yeah, I don't know how long this has been in. Looks like 02. Holy crap, has it been that long? 02F. My favorite pliers. They're flat and they got down pressure. Okay. Little pokey thing there. Got a rubber plunger on it. It's kind of weird. And we'll stick this right down in here. So there we go. That goes down to there. Go grab some nitrogen and we will blow that sucker right out. Okay, to make this more effective so you don't have to pressurize the whole thing, we're going to crank that suction valve in which then is going to leave the compressor as the only thing open. We do have the power turned off down here, which is kind of convenient that they have it down there. Go ahead and crank that sucker in. Get in the hole. Don't even have to do anything. Okay. That made a difference. We got a speed pick up there. Let's see, we go full solid there. It's blowing that right on in there. All right, got her completely out. Don't look like it, but it is. There's nothing they're wiggling. Completely drained it out. I'm gonna spray that off some brake cleaner when I get done here. That hose just sucked it right, or blew it right out, whatever you want to call it. Crap tons of that stupid dye in there. There we go. And I always like to use my shortest hose on this, and then we'll purge this into the waste bucket here. So we'll just get a couple pumps here. I wasn't planning on recording, so that's why we're going off the phone today. Now we can take this right into that hole there, and then we'll fill her up. Pretty simple. Just a couple pumps, and we got her right up there to the halfway mark. Don't want to overfill it. They got most of everything you can get out of there. They used to say 5% area is what they wanted it, or less than 5%. I've seen it just squirted on top of it, and that's definitely not the right way to do it, but I've seen it work, especially when the compressor is lower than the evaporator. It eventually makes itself back by gravity, but that is not the right way to do it. So make sure you do it the best possible way, which is drain it out. They used to have us come back 2 and 3 times to do an oil change, and that's just, we found it's not necessary. We got our mist cleaned up, all of our stuff's taken out. Just need to get this back in there, that way we can keep that sealed up, that way it's not absorbing moisture. I'm gonna put just a little bit of my thread sealant on there. And here's what we usually use, or at least what I've been using, Loctite 567. I mean, that'll work. So some Blue Monster. So the T+2, any of that crap will work. This here, I've had pretty good luck with it. I've used it on high pressure stuff and not had any major issues with it. Okay, there we go. Bingo. And then for those ones that just absolutely hate my pliers, I'll get you taken care of here with the 6-pointed wrench. You know, the ones that probably bitch, they probably use a 12-point, but you know, whatever. I like bitchers, because I like bitching too, though. That's kind of how I am. There we go. Oh, slid up. Ah, you know what? It's metric. That's probably why. Must be metric, because it ain't that one, it ain't the one below it, but it got kind of tight. You know what size always fits though? This one right here. There we go. Ain't gonna leak. Okay, what we're gonna do is we're just gonna cut this out, and then we're just gonna bend it with some soft copper and make the repair. There's really no room at the top up there as it is. I finally got it out of there. You can see it does not appear that they did the crimp right. I would not think that you should be smashing it like that. And I carry some 1/2, 1/4, and 3/8 here in the truck, so we're just gonna grab a little piece off here. Now I have the fancy Hillmore tool there, but honestly, the spin swedge here, the one that actually does all the way 7/8 and all the way down to 1/4 inch, does some of the best stuff, because whether it's rigid or hard, whatever you want to call it, this works out great. So went ahead and made my fittings here. All we did was took the copper that we had existing and kind of put it there and just rolled it and went up to there. I made it just a touch longer. She's good to go. So get her matched up. That should make it a lot easier, and it'll fall right down in there. We should be good to go. So they're pushing pretty hard to get this done. So we got that one there done, and we got that one there too. That rigid copper doesn't want to bend back into place, but I had to bend it over like that. I'm gonna put a pressure test on it real fast, make sure this stupid suction thing don't leak, because like I said, they're pushing kind of hard because they're about ready to go home for the day, and they know if they need to move food and stuff. And we're gonna go ahead and change this dryer. As you can see, the last Hack Masters came in here, put that blue goop garbage on there. As you see, it hardens clean up your face of your freaking flare, oil the backside of it, call it a day. This kind of garbage shit's gotta stop. Luckily, the old bastards that used to do this stupid crap are leaving the field. So go get you a wire brush, oil that backside. Most important place to oil this thing, right there on the backside of that, right here. That right there is where you want it at the most. Because when that goes in and tightens up, you don't want it twisting the copper and ruining that actual flare there. That's where the oil, nylog, whatever you want to use, needs to go. So I just took a wire brush wheel, got in there, cleaned it up. All that crap there, watch this, hit it with nitrogen. Look at that, all disappears. Ain't that great? Yeah, there's a little bit of scarring there. I don't know if that wipes off. I don't have any more of these. I don't actually stock them on the truck, but it cleaned up pretty good. Okay, we've got that gooned up with some nylog. I'm gonna stretch this over here because this one here had a longer throat on it than what this did. Yeah, go figure, right? So, must have came with it. So it was probably the original one. Put some nylog on the back side of that, slide her together and tighten her up. Okay, we got the nitrogen rolling, pushing right through. Might go ahead and purge out a little bit here on the suction side. Now we've got that mounted there. That'll make it a little easier for the next turkey after me. Go ahead and open this up. I kind of decided to do it now for the suction test. That way I don't have to do it twice for the filter dryer. And we are coming through on suction or to discharge only all the way around to the suction, and then we'll spray her down and see what we get. Well, obviously this has dropped quite a bit, so we've got a leak on the inside. Does not appear to be leaking out here anywhere. We get a nice solid stream on that. I am not seeing anything leak. I have taken my finger and ran it around the pipe, which I usually, that way if it's too strong of a leak and it's blowing it off, that way it'll make a bubble when you're squeezing it. And I'm not seeing anything. So I'm gonna shut the fan off and see if I can hear it. Because I think it's in here, if anywhere. I don't pick up anything in here. But I did pick up something over here on the receiver, and it's pretty bad. I mean, it's so bad I can hear it all the way over there. Pegging it out. Now, this likely wasn't leaking when it was backed out all the way. Generally, they tend to seal up sometimes when you back them out. Let's back it out and see what happens there. Yeah, it's still leaking like a... Holy cow. That baby is leaking horribly bad. I've got a tool to tighten this stupid thing up, so we'll see if we can... Oh my gosh. It's just shooting out of there. So over here in my magic box, this little bad boy here should tighten it up. Got the new A2L adapter crap too. Got this from TruTech Tools. So if you guys end up needing that sometime soon, TruTech Tools has got that right there. As usual, use Survival at checkout for a discount of about 8%. So not a bad deal. Yeah, Refrigeration Research, so they sent it to me, which is kind of cool. Oh boy, and it's already tight. Yep. Well, I've looked all over my truck. Can't find a metal cap like that one right there. So we're gonna try stealing that one off the compressor, move it over here, and we'll put the plastic one on the compressor. Hopefully the compressor one's not leaking. Anytime you're tearing old equipment out and you see some metal caps like that, oh heck, that wasn't even tight, so I guess probably all right, right? There we go. Let's see how that does. Looks like that will work. Don't see any micro bubbles down here. If we did, if we had any micro bubbles, we'd know we have a leak, so we're not micro bubbling anywhere. Granted, it's only been 2 minutes, but we were dropping super stupid fast earlier, and we haven't lost anything yet. And we just scanned the evaporator over. So we're gonna go ahead and have to pull vacuum off the compressor side and get this thing yanked down and recharge it. Okay, this is a pony show here. So we're coming off of that, doing it on the liquid discharge line. Obviously, not the way I would want to do it, but you got to remember, because of the way they got this rinky-dinked up, and instead of using, you know, ports off the compressor like you normally would, like right there, they literally put a T. That's how lazy these people are. So that's the pressure port for the suction. and they had it there. So I mean, in reality, I guess we could move it over there. I think the reason they did that is probably because they wanted an easier connection. Let's see if this thing pulls down. If it pulls down halfway decent, I'm gonna just leave it alone, because I mean, that's just, this thing's been half twinked the whole way home. Crappy as it is, bad as it is, it's doing it. It's gonna be quicker than a stupid manifold, even though we're doing it through the 3/8 line, because you're going through quarter with restrictions and valve cores, and you know, it's just, nah. Okay, we've got that all wrapped up. Fixed all the holes. On this piece here, the insulation's in between the liquid line, and half the time we tape the liquid line to the suction line for a subcooler heat exchanger, but either way, it's not gonna hurt anything, and it's got it all sealed up, so that's good there. I'm gonna grab my brush real quick and brush some of this dirt off of it. We got our ladder put away, and we go up and then we come down. We go up and then we come down. So there's definitely oil probably trapped in the receiver, because it was dropping at 50 microns a second and going back up. So since we never sucked moisture in, I'm not gonna go for the perfect vacuum. We know that it's holding, but I'm gonna go ahead and let that continue to run. Let's go brush that coil off, at least clean it up a little bit. All right, we got it a little bit better than what it was. Okay, so I just valved it off. You can see we're holding dead in there, no leak rate at all. We're at 1,059. So that's a good sign. You see that we actually got it valved off, because you know, for you guys that are new, pulling it down to 500 microns is a lot different than pulling it down to 500 microns, valving it off and see if it stays at 500 microns. There's a lot of misconceptions. Oh, I hit 500, I'm good. No, it's not. Everything's looking pretty good so far. I'm gonna go ahead and get things prepped up. I'm gonna let it run for a little longer, but I'm feeling pretty confident that we've got it to a place where we should be safe to recharge it here shortly. We got everything bled out. Weight scale is zeroed. We've got it bled all the way up to our fitting here. Let her rip. And then once we get out of a vacuum, we will pull the micron gauge off. I want to see if I can get in as much liquid as possible. I'm going to dump in at least probably 3 pounds before I start doing it. That way we can get it in the quickest, and then, you know, we can go from there. I'd say we were able to pull our gauge off now. That's the nice thing about a quality gauge. You don't have to worry about putting valves on it if you don't want to. It's good for 500 pounds. Not looking very full there, which is fine. You know, when you're starting out, this is when you want to start feeling around on your unit. Where's it hot at? When's it cold? What do we got going on here? This is when you can start learning about what's going on with it. So like right here, the headmaster control is kicking in because we're running, it's 180 pound control, and see we're running 163 pounds. Well, what's going to happen if we're at 160 and this is set for 180? It's going to let the hot gas come out and come across here, and guess what? I have hot gas. I can feel it plain as day coming out of the condenser, cold. You can tell that the headmaster control actually works, so we know that's a good thing. So we can go ahead and start dumping some more liquid in slowly, and we'll get this thing charged up. We don't have to worry as much about winter charge, because this is never going to get that cold in here. It is a flooded condenser, however, because of the headmaster control, but we'll go ahead and get this thing juiced up here and keep an eyeball on it, and you'll eventually see that, well, I can tell already the pressure has 172. I don't feel hot gas no more on that part of the valve. Just went full. Okay, we'll stop for a second there. Pretty solid. We're at 4.5. We'll go ahead and just take it to maybe 5 pounds to be safe. Everything's good to go. The pressure's not going anywhere. Definitely not bypassing here. Okay, let's see how that's doing over here. As you notice, the oil's looking pretty good. Right in that middle mark here. I think we are there. So one thing I've kind of learned, double check it with your leak detector before you go, because I have caught myself missing a leak that I thought I had after, you know, checked with bubbles and it just didn't work. Also, we're checking the total compressor superheat, which is over there. We are right at about 9.5. We're holding pretty good there. May need to take it up a little bit as it gets a little bit colder. It's kind of coming back up there a touch. So we're gonna watch that, make sure we ain't flooding back, because the new refrigerant's going to be a little bit different. Real close, but just a little bit different possibly. And you can also notice our head pressure looks really good. We're on about 94-degree condensing temperature. I'd say it's probably 70 in here, 72. So let's just say 74. So 84, 94, 20 to 25 degrees over ambient. Looking good there. Nothing's going through, bypassing. Definitely warm on discharge, but not there. Everything's fine there. Feels good. Still solid. We'll go ahead and scan the inside unit. Wanted to check the discharge here. Nothing. Nothing at all on that. That's back seated. Nothing on it either. Good deal. Okay, had just a little bit when I came in here, which ain't uncommon because this completely sealed up in here. Nothing on any of my joints up here. So we're already just about at temp. So 42. The superheat had came up to actually 10, almost 11 degrees, which is great. And obviously it's working a lot better than what it was. As you see, it's at 42 degrees, so we should be fine on superheat. I'm not gonna screw with it. You gotta remember, this is literally right on the other side of this and pops down. So it's 15 foot away. So 8 degrees for a cooler is pretty good. Well, we got everything together. Everything's back up. Everything's secure. Machine's just about ready to hit temp. Side glass still full. And condenser coil looks good. All right, guys, it's gonna wrap this one up. Everything's back together and working the way it should. I feel comfortable that it's gonna continue to work. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, smack the thumbs button. Maybe consider subscribing if you haven't. And if I don't talk to you before Thanksgiving, happy Thanksgiving. Till next time, later. I like the way that looks.